by the Beatles. But to Charles Manson, it was much more than that. Charles Manson can be called one of the biggest cult leaders in America, but he's especially important here in Los Angeles. So in this speech, I will inform you about Charles Manson, the Manson murders of 1969, how it ended the flower power era of the 60s, and how it affected society. I will begin by giving you a little background of Charles Manson. He was born on November 12, 1934 in Ohio, and he grew up in a really broken family. Like, he was always bouncing from place to place, always getting in trouble. And in 1955, he moved to Los Angeles. He was always in and out of jail, and up to 1967, he was in jail, but he was paroled early. So when he came out in 1967, it was the whole anti-war peace and love movement that was going on, and all of this was new to him because being in jail, they didn't have that. So he was master manipulator. He was really good at persuading people. So he began to pick up these vulnerable and insecure teenagers that had rejected society, or society had rejected them. And together they formed a family. Now this family, they would move around from place to place, but eventually they settled into the Spawn Ranch. And there they experimented with sex and drugs. They would sit around and they'd go on LSD trips together, and then they'd have orgies. And in this way, he began to brainwash them, and little by little, he became their leader. And they literally believed he was a god, he thought that he was their god. So anything he said they would do, and they believed everything. So he thought that this revolution was about to begin, about how black people were gonna overpower white people, but he thought that it was taking too long. So what he did is, they wanted to kill, do some murders and try to frame black people to kind of set it in motion. So that's kind of what happened, but it didn't really work out that way. Now, the murders in 1969, they happened over 3 nights. The first night was July 25th, 1969, and they killed Gary Hinman, who was he was kind of a friend of the family, but not so much of a friend because he killed him.
Fair enough.
On August 8, 1969, they killed Stephen Parent, Sharon Tate, Jay Sebring, Washington Krywowski, and Abigail Folger. And that's a picture of Sharon Tate, and she was pregnant 8.5 months at the time, and all those people were at her house. So, and then the following night, they killed Mr. and Mrs. Dino LaBianca. Now, what I found that was interesting that I didn't know was that Stephen Parent, he was actually from my hometown, so I thought that was pretty cool. Well, not cool, it's kind of sad, but. And why these murders, they were so famous because Sharon Tate, she was an actress here in California, and the murders, they were gruesome. They kind of butchered the victims. They were stabbed, I think 160 times, and then some of them were shot. On this one man, they carved a war onto his stomach. And once they were done, they would get their blood and they started writing on walls Death to Pigs, Rise, Helter Skelter, and all of those were references to songs of the Beatles. Now, when society found out how it was how they were behind it, everyone was shocked because they couldn't believe how this 5'2" man could have so much influence over these kids that they literally killed for him because he didn't do any of the killing himself. He was the one pulling the strings. And these kids, they used to be I guess normal because they were on the football team. They were track stars. One of them was homecoming queen, and then another girl used to sing in the church choir, and now they were killing machines. And then they showed no remorse. In trial, that's Susan Atkins, Patricia Krimko, and Leslie Van Houten, they in trial they showed they would go to trial singing and happy. And then Charles Manson, he carved an X on his forehead because he X'd himself out of society. So did they, and it was it was that power of how much devotion they had to him, and it was scary. So the effects that this has is it showed society how the drugs could screw up your logic, because all the LSD it totally screwed them up. And hippies got a bad reputation. Everything that was the Manson family, they weren't hippies. They didn't consider themselves hippies, but they looked like hippies. So now everything that was hippie related was now evil because Charles Manson was now the definition of evil. And people were scared. They didn't know they had hit lists and stuff. So in an article by Newsweek called the Manson murders at 40. Vincent Bugliosi, he said that up to that time, like people didn't feel, like in Los Angeles, people didn't feel the need to lock their doors at night. But everything changed with these murders. And then when the police, they kind of like, I guess they kind of screwed up a little. It was not that they screwed up, but like all these cases, they saw the similarities, but they didn't connect them because they disregarded them because they thought it was like a copycat. So actually what broke the case was when they arrested Susan Atkins for the first murder of Gary Hinman, and she confessed to one of her cellmates that she was the one that killed Sharon Tate. So then that cellmate then reported it to the police, and that's how they like figured out that it was the Manson family behind all those murders. So where's Charles Manson now? He's in jail, still here in California. He's serving a life sentence. He's tried to be paroled like 11 times since 1978, but he was always denied, and his next parole hearing is in 2012. And I read that his attorney asked President Obama to pardon him, but yeah, it was like. And the scary part is that he still has like tons of followers. Like people are still really devoted to him. They have like free Charles Manson T-shirts and stuff. So that's like kind of scary. So there you go. So in conclusion, I hope you guys learned about Charles Manson and how he affected society, especially here in California, because in LA, because this is where the murders took place. So yeah, if you guys ever run into a Charles Manson fan, you guys might want to walk together.